Donald Trump has just publicly demanded that the Prime Minister of Canada step down, not in a private conversation, not through quiet diplomatic back channels, and not buried in a leaked memo. He did it at a press conference, on camera, broadcast live to the entire world. His words were clear and unmistakable. Trump said that Mark Carney should resign immediately and allow someone who actually wants to cooperate with the United States to take over the position. He went even further, declaring that Canada needs new leadership, and warning that as long as Carney remains in power, the United States will refuse to engage diplomatically with Canada. In that moment, a sitting American president had effectively demanded the removal of the democratically elected leader of one of America's closest allies. Canada's response came quickly and with extraordinary force. Within just 48 hours, the Canadian Parliament passed a unanimous sovereignty resolution. Every political party supported it. Every single member of Parliament voted in favor. The final result was 338 votes to 0. No dissent, no abstentions, no divisions. Then the economic retaliation began. Canada suspended all energy exports to the United States, including oil, natural gas, and electricity. This was not a symbolic move. Canada provides roughly 60% of America's crude oil imports and supplies nearly all electricity imports to several northern U.S. states. Cutting off those supplies instantly created energy emergencies across parts of the United States that rely heavily on Canadian energy flows. Diplomatic relations also collapsed with shocking speed. For the first time in the 158-year history of the U.S.-Canada relationship, formal diplomatic ties were severed. Embassies closed their doors. Consular services were halted. One of the most stable and cooperative relationships in modern diplomatic history had suddenly fallen apart. At the same time, international reaction exploded across the globe. 43 countries issued official statements condemning Trump's demand, describing it as interference in the democratic sovereignty of another nation. Leaders throughout Europe and Asia warned that allowing one democracy to dictate the leadership of another would undermine the very foundation of modern alliances and international norms. Yet perhaps the most remarkable response came from Mark Carney himself. Standing in the Canadian House of Commons in front of every member of Parliament and a nation watching live on television, Carney addressed Canadians first. He reminded the country that he had been elected by the people of Canada, and that he would leave office only when Canadians themselves decided it was time. Then he turned directly toward the camera and addressed the President of the United States. His message was calm but devastating. "In Canada," Carney said, "leaders are chosen by citizens, not by foreign governments, not by economic threats, and not by demands delivered at press conferences." Then he delivered the 5 words that quickly spread across headlines around the world. "I don't work for you." The chamber immediately erupted into applause. Members of Parliament from every political party stood together in a standing ovation that lasted more than 2 minutes. What Trump had intended as a political blow against Carney instead unified the entire country behind him. Carney's approval rating surged almost overnight. Even political opponents who had spent years trying to defeat him publicly defended his right to govern. The reason was simple. By demanding the resignation of a democratically elected leader, Trump transformed what had been a trade conflict into something far larger, a confrontation over democratic sovereignty itself. Warren Buffett later explained why Trump's strategy had backfired so dramatically. "In business and in politics," Buffett said, "there is one rule that almost always applies: never attack the other side's identity. You can negotiate about prices, markets, or policies. But the moment you challenge someone's legitimacy or their right to choose their own path, you create unity instead of division." That is exactly what happened in Canada. The country's response continued to escalate. Energy exports remained suspended. Shipments of critical minerals were frozen. Canadian airspace was closed to many American flights traveling toward Europe and Asia, forcing airlines to reroute their planes and absorb billions of dollars in additional fuel and operational costs. Within days, several American border states were declaring energy emergencies. Natural gas prices surged sharply. Heating oil costs jumped. Power grid operators warned that peak winter demand could lead to rolling blackouts in some regions if supplies did not stabilize. Meanwhile, diplomatic relations remained frozen. Intelligence cooperation between the two countries was also placed under review, something that had previously been almost unthinkable given the deep security partnership between the two neighbors. What began as a trade dispute had rapidly transformed into the most serious crisis in modern U.S.-Canada relations. And it all started with a demand delivered at a press conference. Trump attempted to weaken Canada's leader. Instead, he strengthened him. He tried to pressure Canada into submission, but instead he united an entire nation behind its government. In the end, the defining moment of this crisis may come down to 5 words spoken by a prime minister defending his country's democracy. 5 words that echoed far beyond Canada's borders. I don't work for you.